Dorez, we are live.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm fine. It's so good to see you.
Yes,
I'm
finally.
excited.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, I always hear your voice in our room, filmmaker's room on Clubhouse. And yeah, I always wanted to talk to you. So let me tell our audience my name is Ching Juhl. I host this weekly live interview. My guests usually a lot of filmmakers, sometimes musicians, sometimes politicians, sometimes activists, and all kinds of interesting people. And I learn from them, and they are my therapy. Put it that way. It makes me feel really good after I talk to my guests. So, how are you? And today we have Dorez Douglas with us. She's an author. She's a producer. She used to be an actress. She produces a film and television show, and she's in entertainment business for many decades. So welcome, Dorez. So tell us a little bit. Where is your gene in entertainment and filmmaking come from? Is your family was in this business?
No, they were not, Ching. And the crazy thing is, nobody in my family has anything to do with the entertainment business. And so they didn't understand when I said that's what I wanted to do. They just looked at me like, what? They're a typical Midwestern family. My father was a minister. My mother was a homemaker. My father also worked in the automotive industry for Chrysler for many years
Wow.
on the assembly line. And that's really hard work. But he was a good, I think what I did get from him was his work ethic, because he believed in and his word. If he gave you his word about something, it was going to happen. It wasn't even any question. He was going to do everything in his power to make it happen. And so I appreciated that about him. And I think I get that from him. And from my mother, I get discipline. My mother was a homemaker, but boy, she ran our house like a tight ship.
She's a
She was
tiger mother.
right. And so that was my upbringing. And nobody knew anything about entertainment. My brother was the only one to kind of break out of the mold of what my family was used to, because they were just average, not even middle class, I would say lower class family. But my brother became a doctor.
Mm.
And so he was the first to really have his dream. And I think that made me then want to pursue my dream.
That's nice. That's nice. That's it's not easy because a lot of parents want their children to have a so-called stable job, right?
Right,
And being in entertainment business, and it's not definitely not stable at the beginning, right? And yeah,
right. And
or
and that was their concern, was that I was gonna, especially after I said I wanted to move to Los Angeles. Oh
uh,
boy, that
yeah.
was over 3,000 miles away from home, and I'd never been that far away from home.
Where
The
were you born?
I was born in Detroit, Michigan. And so they were typical Midwestern parents, and I had five brothers and sisters, and
Wow.
none of them had ever pursued anything away from home, other than my older brother. He went away in the service, in the military. So
Mhm.
he was the first one to really go far away from home. He was in the Vietnam War. And
Oh.
so it was just shocking to them that I would want to go 3,000 miles away by myself and try to make a career. The only thing that worked in my favor was that my brother, who became a doctor, he was studying to be a doctor at that time. So he was still in school, but he had got an offer from LA, but he was in Orange County, which isn't that far from LA, about 45 minutes to an hour. And so they said, well, if you go, we want you to stay with him.
Mhm.
So I was able to move out here and stay at his house, his place. It was just a little tiny apartment he and his girlfriend shared. And so they let me stay with them. So my parents felt better about my plan once
Mhm.
I moved with him.
So can you walk us just briefly? You went to Los Angeles, and how, like, if someone want to do the same thing, going from a Midwest place and go into Los Angeles or coming to New York City, how did you maneuver from, being someone do not know the business to become producer or to become doing television projects?
Oh boy, that was a journey. First thing was, Ching, the first time I came, I was only 25. I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up getting mixed up with all the wrong people, partying, trying to have a good time. I was like most people when they come to
Party
LA.
girl.
Yeah, most people when they come to LA, that's the first thought in their mind. I'm going to meet these celebrities and I'm just going to have a good time. And I ended up pregnant and had to go back home. so so now,
Oh,
now I'm going to tell
you
you
you were wild.
that's what you don't do.
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah, yeah.
so I ended up having to go back home, had my baby, my daughter, and then I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go back to LA, and this time I am not going to be fooling around.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to get my act together.
Yeah.
And it took me a while.
Uh-huh.
Took me almost 3 years,
Yeah.
but I managed to get back to LA, and now I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I did things right this time.
Because
First,
you have to go through some difficult time. You have
yes,
to be bad first.
right. Sometimes you have to
Sometimes.
fall on your face,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and mess up. And that's what I did. But
Mm-hmm.
it taught me a lesson, and it made me more serious the next
Mm-hmm.
time around.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got back to California, oh, I was so grateful to be here. I didn't have anything like that attitude that I had before.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was changed. I got back, I
Wow.
was serious. I started joining networking groups, and I started going to these meetings and meeting all these people. And I was in a business group, and this lady that I met in the group told me about working in the entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I thought I wanted to be a singer.
Mm-hmm.
So I was only interested in music. And I was telling her all my dreams, what I'm going to do. I'm going to be in the music business. I'll be a big star. So she said, girl, you need to forget that dream. She says, you tried to do that the first time and you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, I'm going to tell you what you should do. You need to work behind the camera. You need to learn how to work on a crew or
Mm-hmm.
do, some kind of work like that.
Mm-hmm.
So because she gave me that tip, I started looking for jobs like with production companies, with the studios and the networks, and working on the development side of the business, not on the film production side.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how important that was going to be, that was going to be life changing.
Mm-hmm.
So she gave me a good tip. She said, well, sign up with some temporary agencies, employment agencies,
Mm-hmm.
and tell them that you have good skills, office skills, and that you would like to work in the entertainment business. And there are actually agencies
Mm-hmm.
that have deals with the studios and the networks and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and they supply workers to those companies. And so if she hadn't told me that, I probably would have fumbled around a
Mm-hmm.
lot longer trying to get established in the business. But because
Yeah.
she told me that, that's what I did. I registered with them. They
Mm-hmm.
got me hired at places like ABC and MGM and
Wow.
Sony and all these companies. And
Wow.
I was just shocked at all these
Yeah.
people working in the business behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
And I had no clue that all those jobs existed. So that's
Yeah.
how I got my start.
Wow. So the takeaway is you need to meet the right person at the right time, right?
Yes.
It's the
You need to
human
network.
it's the human relationship that is in any field, right? You
Right.
build you meet someone, then the relationship starts, and then somehow, sooner or later you get help. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, they like graduate from, film school, and it's very hard. They take auditions, countless auditions, or
Mm-hmm.
do many work, like
Right. Or they
assistant,
work
yeah,
on other student
PR,
films with other
PA.
filmmakers. Yeah.
They call PA
And
or
that's the
AP.
PA,
Assistant
yeah,
PA.
production assistant.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a good way to get started as a PA. But
Hmm.
I tell you what I learned. I
Hmm.
learned, especially now with all the technology, I learned that it's important for you to get your skills
Hmm.
sharp. You
Hmm.
know, so if you think you want to work in on the development side, like in the
Hmm.
offices at these production companies and streaming companies and the networks, the studios, all of that, what you need to do is learn the software, learn the technology, get your skills really up to date
Hmm.
so that when these jobs become available, you will be qualified. Because I think some people think, oh, I'm just going to jump out there and take a, get hired. I'm just going to go and I'm going to fill out an application and
Hmm.
somebody's going to see my talent, my abilities. Doesn't
Hmm.
work like that. Very seldom does it happen that way. So, what I tell people to do, get your skills together, network as much as you can. And now with all this online, all this social media, there's no reason not to meet people. And even if you go on sites like meetup.com,
Hmm.
you can go on meetup.com, you can put in the name of your city and put in filmmaking groups,
Hmm.
and all kinds of groups will come up. And these are
Hmm.
people who are in your city. So no
Hmm.
matter where you live, you can meet other filmmakers and meet other other people who are trying to build their careers.
Hmm.
And then all of you get together and form teams to help each other get your projects done.
Yeah.
And that's one way to get in. The
Hmm.
other is if you learn what it takes to be a PA, a production assistant, that's the entry level job in the industry. And what you can do is I have an ebook, in fact, that tells you all about being a PA, what you need to know.
Hmm.
You have to learn the terminology that's used in the business. And then you have to know the PA stuff, which is like the walkie-talkie codes. You're going to need to know those because they're going to give you a walkie-talkie when you're on set.
Hmm.
If you want to be on the production side,
Hmm.
if you want to be on the development side, they also hire PAs, and you would be what they call an office PA. So
Hmm.
there's office PAs and then there's set PAs. So if you want to be either one, you still have to learn the language, learn how we talk and what things are called and nicknames for things, all of that, so that you can then be able to make people think the know the lingo, and that's
Hmm.
how a lot of times you can get hired. And a
Yeah.
good way to get started is to work on independent films. They don't have a lot of money. They can't afford to be very picky.
Hmm.
And if you're willing to work hard, you don't mind the long hours, because you are going to be working very long hours, sometimes 12 to 15 hours a day. If you're on set, if
Hmm.
you're an office PA, you work regular office hours generally, unless something is happening, something special is going on, some big projects or something. They might need you to stay and work a little overtime, but most of the time you work regular hours and you get a regular paycheck.
Hmm.
So some people like that side of the business because of that steady paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are really great tips. And here, can you see this? I
Oh,
pull
yes,
I
yes.
pull out your
My
website.
website. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you, dear. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where people can book a call with me if they want to have a consultation,
Uh-huh.
or where they can get my ebooks. They're on the
Yeah.
site as well. They just go to the menu,
Yeah.
and
So
where it says shop, yeah,
you
and
have
you just go
three.
there, and then the books will come up.
So you have three
Yeah, I have three
books.
books.
Wow.
Yeah, and I
Careers
did that
in film.
because
Mm.
people need so much information, and I'm always getting people asking me how can they get into the business and how do you make a short film. I've made a short film before, so I decided to write a book so that people could learn that. And then I wrote how to win an Oscar, because I get a lot of actors who need help with their careers. And one of the things I tell them is you need to be thinking about the quality of the work that you want to be known for. You need to
Mm.
start out thinking about that. Don't think, oh, it doesn't matter what roles I take, or it doesn't matter if I don't have proper training. All of that matters. And so I interviewed some Academy members
Mm.
and asked them, why did you vote for certain films, or what makes you attracted to certain actors' work
Mm,
and all of that. And I put some of their tips and suggestions in the book,
mhm.
How to Win an Oscar.
Wow, that's awesome. So, there's so much knowledge in here. So, can you give us a short version of what's the advantage of making short film versus making a feature film? Like,
Ah, yes.
yeah, why do
I think
people
for
make shorts?
Yeah, I think for people who are brand new to the industry, making a short film is the better way to go, because it's a way to learn the process, but without putting a whole lot of money on the table. Because, when you start talking about making a feature film, you're talking about a lot of money. And so I always tell people it's better to start with a short film. And it's actually better to work on someone else's short film before you put the money out on your own. Once you work a short film, have made a short film for someone else, you've worked on their project, then you will find out all the ins and outs and the things that can go wrong and what not to do and all of that. And then you use that short film as a sample of your work when you do your own project. It can become a sample of your work. And that's how a lot of people get the money to do a feature film, because now you can show somebody, here's what I did, here's my short film. It could be 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you want to do. And you're able to show people that, look, I was able to make this film with this little bit of money. So that shows you, if I had enough, sufficient money for a real budget, that I can make a feature film. So I think that's the reason for doing short films. I know some people want to do them now because of the streaming platforms. They want to make a short film and they want to put it, maybe on Tubi or, whatever platform they can get it on, and make a little money from it. And that's wonderful. If you can do that, if you do a good enough job, you probably can make some money. But don't bank on that. Don't put everything you've got into it and then be upset that you're not making money. And the other thing you can do with it, you can get into film festivals. And I mean, that's a whole process.
Mm,
It's very political. It's not
yeah,
as easy as people think, but that is
yeah.
another way you could go.
So can oh yeah, I sometimes see Oscar, even shorts can win Oscars. I mean,
Yes.
how does that go? Like
Now that happens
I
if
thought
you
no
get
one
it.
wants to
Yeah.
distribute, right?
Mhm.
That distributors do not are not interested in short
In short
films.
films, right? No, then you usually are not going to get a distributor. But what can happen is, if you get into a film festival that is they what they're called Oscar qualifying festivals. If you get into those, there's a chance that you could qualify to be nominated for an Oscar. And if it, excuse me, if that happens, then you have a chance to be put into the Academy Award nomination category. But it very seldom happens. You really have to make an incredible film for that to happen. And you have to get into the right festivals, because not all of the festivals are Oscar qualifying festivals. So it has to be one that says on their site, it
Mm.
has to say that they are an Oscar qualifying festival. So if you're lucky enough to get in one of those, you have a chance of getting nominated.
Wow, that's just a whole like area of how do you say, you really have to know so much about filmmaking, and I had no
Yes.
idea before like what makes somebody can be qualified consideration for Oscar. And also I think to be qualified being an Oscar for a feature, you have to show your film in a commercial theater for one
Yes.
week and for three shows a day, including a night, right?
And that's very hard to do. It's very hard to get
It's
your
hard to
film.
get audience,
Right,
right?
right. It's not only hard to get an audience too, it's hard to even get the theater to agree to let you run your film there.
Yeah.
And so even now, I thought it would be a little bit easier because of COVID. that I thought, well, with the theaters hurting for business, you know, that they'd be glad to get you in there or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, they're still they still prefer to have a studio film if they
Yeah.
can get it, you know, or a film from one of the streaming services. But some people find these theaters that will let you rent the theater for us, you know, for that 1 week. Of course, that's I no telling how much money that must cost. I haven't ever checked into it. But there are theaters, I've heard that there are theaters that will let you do that. They'll let you rent the theater for the 7 days, and then you can say it was in a theater. And then
Yeah.
that, you know, qualifies you to apply for Oscar nomination.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to a distributor or consultant just do this kind of work in New York
Mm-hmm.
City. Um, he gave me a quote for 7 days in the theater. It's a small theater in New York. It's kind of a like a independent film theater.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that theater is very nice. Have three theaters. One is a little bigger, but even the biggest one is like only 75 seats, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
small. And you have to pay altogether to that distributor $13,000.
Wow. You can make a short film for that.
Yeah, and he does provide also like a publicist, for you, because you really need a publicist to
Oh yeah, you need a
publicize.
publicist.
Yeah, yeah. And then to be on the ballot on the ballot, that's another story. So don't think people who won Oscars is easy. A lot of time they have name actors, right?
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
that's
definitely need at least one name talent
yeah,
in your film in order to really get some attention at even at the festivals.
yeah,
It's very tough to get in if you don't have a name attached,
yeah,
and it's also very tough to get in if you don't have a following, a
uh-huh,
social media following.
yeah,
So I always tell people, don't think that it doesn't matter what kind of following you have. It's very, very important.
mm,
So I would suggest if you don't have a large following, start working on that. You need
right.
to start building. You need to get on Clubhouse. You need to get on all
Clubhouse.
these, right? You need to get on all these platforms and anywhere you can, all of these social
Yeah.
media is what I'm trying to say, social media platforms,
Yes.
and start
Yes.
getting known. You have to get out there. You have to talk about your project. You
Right.
have to talk about yourself. You have to share your stories.
Right.
And I'll tell you something else that people make a mistake in doing, not doing. I mean,
Uh,
whenever you're shooting a project, you always want to have behind the scenes footage and
yes. Yes.
photographs,
Yes. Yes.
because let's say you did get lucky and you won a film festival or got into the festival or got nominated for an Academy Award or any of those things. You want to be able to show video of yourself on the set, talking to your director, working with your crew. And that's
Go
why it's so important to have
go
a
like this.
right. To always act like you're all up in the action. I didn't know that when I started, and so I didn't know, like, if the camera guy is over here and he's got his equipment set up and everything,
Yeah.
you should kind of mosey on over there next to the equipment
Yeah.
and have your videographer
Right.
shoot some footage of you
Right.
standing there, and you can act
Right.
like you looking over the
Right.
DP's shoulder,
Right.
looking at what he's doing.
Right.
And that's, you got to get those compelling shots
Right.
and stuff so that
Shows
people
your
are
work.
excited.
Yeah, yeah. In my film, I was just a one person band, with
Yeah.
the iPhone 11, with this guy, iPhone 11, iPhone 11,
Oh.
and but I actually did have someone. I also brought iPhone 10, so I will
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, not all the time, once in a while, I would have somebody shoot me. Say I'm interview someone, and I said, "Can you
Oh
shoot
yeah.
me?" So when I submit my film to Film Hub, they want behind the scene pictures.
Yep.
So yeah, so I had that one, and then when I was filming a UBI march. So I remembered for some reason I did not know, like you told me, but I just sort of instinctively. So I just give my other camera to someone
Mm-hmm.
stranger. I said, "Can you shoot me from this direction?" And so I was walking, with the sticker, selfie sticker.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I have at least two pictures, But back to the question, I always want someone like you to explain. You are a producer, you are a co-producer, you are executive producer. What is producer? Like there's so many different roles a producer. Can you explain to us what is a producer do?
Oh, yeah, there's so many different kinds of producers, but the main ones are executive producer. And usually that person is the person that brought money to the table. And it doesn't always have to be their money. It could be that they brought the deal to the table, they made the connection that you needed in order to get your project done. Any of those, anything like that that involves getting the money, they're going to want that executive producer title. And then you have producer, and under that category, you could be anything from a physical producer to a creative producer. You might be a writer producer or a producer director. You could have more than one title with that. And what that usually means is, like, for example, with me, I'm more of a creative and physical producer.
Mm,
So when we're on the set, I'm on the set. I'm working there too, just like everybody else. I'm overseeing everything, making sure there's no problems.
mm,
If some kind of problem arises, I have to handle it and I figure out what to do so that my director and my crew, they don't have to worry about that.
mm,
And I also work with a writer. I have a writer on my team, and I work with him, creating the script, working on it, polishing it up, making sure things are working right, making sure it works for our budget. All of that is my job. And then I also help to find the crew, recommend crew people and the talent.
mm,
So I work with the casting director, I work with everybody else that has to hire people
mm,
so that I can put a few names in the pot myself in case there are people that I want to hire. I throw them in,
mm,
and I don't throw my weight around and say, oh, you have to hire my daughter-in-law or my cousin.
mm,
And if they're not qualified, they're not getting hired. I don't care who they are.
mhm,
So that's the kind of producer I am. But then you also have producers who help you with other things. Like, for example, I have a friend who has a producer that works with her, and between them, they divide up all the jobs. So her producer partner is like my producing partner. He knows how to do all the administrative paperwork kind of stuff. He knows how to do budgets. All of that is the stuff that I hate
mm.
doing. so
Yeah.
so I'm glad I have a producer partner and he helps me with that.
Yes.
So when you have that kind of producers working together and as sort of a team, it really does help because you're not a one-man band trying to do everything by yourself. And then
Yeah.
you have associate producers,
Mhm.
and that's the last kind of producer. And those people can be anything from my aunt helped me find a caterer for the set. And so we're going to just
Is
give
it
her an
line
associate
produce? Is it
producer
called
title.
line producer? Are they
Well, yeah,
called
line
line?
producer is a little bit different.
Oh,
They are a producer,
mm,
but not in the sense of the kind of producer I am.
I
So
see.
the line producer is who you hire if you have the money
Mm,
to do your budget and do all that paperwork kind of stuff,
I
contracts
see.
and all that.
I
So
see.
yeah, so if you need one, then that's who you get. But the associate producer is kind of a title that you can just sort of throw away. Let's say you have a friend and they have a someone who has a beautiful home, and they got that person to agree to let you use their home for the location. Then sometimes, just as a thank you, you will say, "Well, I'm going to make you an associate producer."
Okay.
So even though you're not really producing in
I
that
see.
sense,
I
you're
see.
not
I
working
see.
as a producer.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a very variety kind of responsibility for producers. Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I guess if you can find an executive producer, you're very lucky as a filmmaker, right? Someone
Right.
collects money for you.
Now, I will give you an example of when I did one executive producing job,
Uh-huh.
because normally I'm not the executive producer on a project.
Mm,
But when I first got my first deal with ABC, I was doing an animated children's special. And because of a friend who knew somebody at ABC, I was able to be the executive producer along with her because
mm,
she took me to ABC.
mhm,
And because of my pitch, we got the deal. So we
mm,
shared the co-executive producer title.
mm, mm,
And between us, we were able to produce that project. And in fact, even though that was a long time ago,
mm.
I found out that it's on YouTube. So I was
Wow.
very surprised. I was like,
Mm,
oh, somebody put it on YouTube. So
mhm.
now if people want to see it, they could, DM me and I'll send you the link. But it's
Yeah.
on YouTube. And I'm so happy that because of the internet, you can still see things that you did like years ago. So it's a
It,
wonderful thing.
the name is a little bit difficult to say. It's a
Yeah,
Jirimpimbra. B.
Bira. Yeah,
How do you say that?
Jirimpimbira.
How do
It's
you say that?
Jirimpimbira.
Jirimpimbira. So what does that mean?
Right.
Someone's name?
It's actually a magic word in the story because it's a children's story. And there was a part in it where the kid discovered the magic word, and that's what it is, Jirimpimbira. And it makes
Oh.
magical things happen.
Oh, okay, okay. It's very interesting. So it's called
Yeah.
an
And
African.
Diahann Carroll was the narrator on that project. And
Uh-huh.
I got a chance to meet her. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
so
nice.
glad I did because now, she's passed away. But
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so glad that I was able to meet her and work with her.
Is this
That was
is
so
this a
exciting.
feature or short?
It's actually a TV special,
Oh, okay.
and it's 30 minutes,
Oh,
and it aired on ABC back
oh.
in the mid 90s.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So you have done some impressive work. Tell us a little bit your partner. You often tell us your partner, Willie Burton, whom you work with, and he got an Oscar nomination, or he
he's
won
actually
Oscar.
won two
Yeah.
Oscars. He's been
Whoa.
nominated probably 8 times,
S-
8 or 9 times,
So
but he's won twice.
what does he what is his role? What does he win with Oscar?
He won the Oscar for two movies. One was called Bird, and it's about the life of Charlie Bird Parker, the
Oh,
the jazz musician who was really
oh,
famous.
yeah.
Clint Eastwood directed that movie,
Uh-huh.
and Willie won his first Oscar for that movie,
Uh-huh.
and then he won his second Oscar for the movie Dreamgirls
Oh,
that featured
Dream Girl. I know.
Beyonce and Eddie Murphy and uh,
And that
Jamie Foxx. Yeah,
incredible singer is
right.
the what's
It
her
was all
name?
about, yeah, the
Yeah.
actually based
Dream
on the
Girl.
Supremes, kind of
Yeah, yeah.
loosely
Yeah.
based
So
on their story.
yeah, so you're working with him. Is that the project you're working on, the shorts called Voices?
Right. Well, he's the one, yeah, that I did that movie with,
Uh,
and it was a short film.
uh-huh.
I'll tell you a little about Willie. He's a
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful guy,
Uh-huh.
and you wouldn't know that he's won two Oscars. He doesn't
Uh,
act very arrogant or,
I see.
he's not like that at all.
Yeah.
But Willie started as a sound mixer.
Yeah.
And after he had built a big, long career in sound mixing,
Uh-huh.
he met me and decided that he had met me while he was still building his career.
Uh-huh.
But in the 90s, when I started doing producing,
Yeah.
I told him about my ABC project.
Yeah.
So he gave me some advice about it. And after that, we sort of stayed in touch. And one day he surprised me and he said, I was wondering if you would like to take on a partner and
Wow.
if we would like to make some projects together.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so we made one feature film together. It's called
Wow.
Beverly Hood,
Yeah,
and
Beverly
it's a
Hills.
comedy. And we
Right,
did
right.
that. That was my training ground because I'd never
Yeah.
done a feature before,
Yeah.
where I learned a lot there. And then after that, we stayed working together. So then we had a chance to produce Voices,
Uh-huh.
which is based on a book. It's on a
Oh,
book of essays
uh-huh.
that were written by some college students at Baton Rouge Community College.
Yeah.
And these students had written about their personal experiences
Uh-huh.
with racism, police brutality, with COVID, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff was going on at that time.
Yeah.
And so the professor persuaded them to write a book about it.
Yeah.
And they wrote this book called Voices from the Bayou.
Uh-huh.
And after they wrote that book, they decided to do it as a play.
Uh-huh.
So the school gave them financing to do it as a play.
Yeah.
And after they got Lamont Rucker to be to star in the play, and Danny Glover did the introduction to the
Yeah.
play.
Uh-huh.
And after that happened, everybody was so excited.
Uh-huh.
They said, we ought to make this into a movie.
Uh-huh.
And so they couldn't afford to do a feature.
Uh-huh.
So we took just a couple of the stories, a few of the stories
Uh-huh.
from the book, and we turned it into a short film. And
Uh-huh.
that's what is Voices.
Yeah, I would love to see them. And look, this is Doris's what's called this thing is
Oh,
IMDb.
IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So um I did not really know IMDb very much before,
Mm-hmm.
like even 3 years ago. Actually, I had an account, but it was not serious. So, what can you give us a very short description? Why is so important that actors, filmmakers, and songmen and producers want to have an IMDb account?
Yeah, I'll tell you, since IMDb came about, a lot of people have come to realize that anybody who wants to do business with you, they're going to look you up on IMDb. They want to be able to see what kind of projects you've done before, who you've worked with, all that kind of stuff. And it just gives you credibility so that people know you're serious about the industry
Mm.
and that you are who you say you are.
So I
And so
don't need a
that's really
so
what
I
it's
don't
for.
need a website. Like
No,
I don't.
you don't have to have a website. I mean,
Really?
I have a website. You can
Yeah.
have one.
Yeah.
And it's good to have one because you can put other stuff on there that you can't put on IMDb.
Yeah.
But because for example, you might want to have some behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
about your movie. You
Yeah.
might want to put some clips up
Yeah.
on your website.
Yeah.
So on IMDb, you're really just listing what the projects are that you've done.
Yeah.
And so I would say it's still good to have a website.
So IMDb is complicated. That website takes like a
Oh yeah.
PhD to do it.
Yeah, it is
Is
not
it
easy.
is it as complicated as like what do you call Wikipedia? So you cannot just tell people what you did. It has to be approved, right?
Right. You have to submit it, and then if they approve it, then they'll put it up.
Yeah.
If they don't approve it, it won't be on there. And I've done a lot of stuff that didn't get on IMDb. Especially like let's say if you do a film
Yeah.
and it doesn't get into the theaters or it doesn't get on a streaming platform or somewhere
Yeah.
where people can see it, then a lot of times IMDb won't approve it.
Uh-huh.
And so, that can be kind of a disappointment because you want to have your work that you've done, whatever it was,
Yeah.
to be able to share it
Right.
on IMDb. And it's sort of a disappointment that they won't let you do that. But
Yeah.
I understand why,
Why?
because they do want to be able to prove that you actually were involved in the project
Right.
and that you did what you said you did on the project. Because there are people who will say things like, oh, I'm a producer.
Mm.
And maybe they did one little small, student film
Mm.
and put some money up and gave themselves a producer title.
Mm.
But to IMDb, that doesn't mean you actually know how to properly do it,
Mm.
how to
Yeah.
properly do that job.
Yeah.
Or if you say you were a producer, but in reality, you were the casting director or something, they're going to
Yeah.
be like, no, you
Yeah.
didn't produce on that. It says casting director as your title in the credits. So they go by what's in the credits.
Yes. I had an experience actually. I was lucky. I put my film I shoot also on iPhone. I shot a film 10 minutes called Black Lives Matter. and
Mm-hmm.
it was played in a film festival once or
Oh,
twice. And then I just listed on IMDb, and they actually received it. And
they approved it.
I have a feeling that that festival has to list it on their IMDb. Therefore, I
Oh,
will be accepted. I
that may be so.
Yeah,
I never dealt with the festivals,
yeah,
but yes, that probably is the reason.
yeah,
And that's a blessing that that
yeah,
happened for you.
yeah, yeah. That's good. So yeah, yeah, I wanted to ask a different question. I Google around you and also, saw your Instagram. You're very active out there, and I saw your husband painting, and
Oh, yes.
he did pass away, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your husband?
Yeah, I met Lee. His name is Lee Douglas. I met Lee back in the 80s. And when after we got married, he told me that he liked to paint. And I didn't think he was really serious about it. I was like, well, we'll get you some paints and, we'll go to the art store and
Yeah,
get some supplies.
yeah,
But he really was serious.
uh-huh,
And so over the years, he's done all these paintings. And it started at first, a couple of friends of mine would say, oh, can we see his paintings? And so I would post them on my social media so they could see them, or I would post them in my groups that I'm in, like in Facebook and all that. And one day a lady said she'd like to buy one of the paintings.
wow,
And I was like, what? And so to my surprise, she bought the painting.
uh-huh.
And then other people started saying, I'd like to buy his paintings. And I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So finally, my daughter said, well, let's put it on Etsy. Let's open
Etsy,
up an Etsy shop.
yeah, yeah,
So we opened up an Etsy shop and started putting his paintings up. And he would paint for hours.
uh-huh.
Once he retired, he would just sit and just paint and paint and paint.
uh,
And over the years, he
nice,
did probably about 100 paintings, maybe
wow,
more.
wow,
And we've sold quite a few of them.
yeah,
And then he got sick. He started getting ill off and on. He was not anything really serious, but he had prostate cancer at one point, but he overcame that.
yeah,
And then he started getting he's much older than me. So he started having problems being able to get up the stairs and, just starting having a few little health issues. So we had to put him into a nursing home, and he continued painting a little bit, but for the most part, he had to stop at some point. So I'm glad now that he did all those paintings, because who knew he was going to do all of that? And then at the start of the pandemic, just before the pandemic, he had started having a few mental issues. And the doctors weren't sure what was going on. They didn't know if it was dementia, like the early stages or whatever. But when the pandemic hit, it really affected his mental health. And that's why I take it so seriously now when people say that, they started really having mental problems when the pandemic hit.
mm,
And when we went into lockdown, I wasn't able to go see him at the nursing home. And it just sent him into a panic. He was like, what do you mean you can't come? And why won't they let you see me? And because of the mental issues, I wasn't even able to explain what was happening.
mm.
And they think that what happened was he got so upset and worked up about it that it caused him to have a heart attack. And so
Oh,
that's what he actually died from, and
oh,
not COVID.
oh, I
But
see.
they believe the pandemic brought it on.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he
Wow.
died in 2020. And I've kept his Etsy shop going so people
Uh,
can buy his art if they want to, or if they just want to come look at it.
oh,
And
that's
but yeah, he
sweet.
was my number one fan.
Oh,
I mean, anything I did, and I don't care how many times I would have a project and I would be all excited about it.
uh,
And then maybe everything fell through and the
uh,
deal, fell through. No matter what happened, he never got discouraged and he never let me quit.
uh,
I would be all upset and saying, I'm going to get out of this business. I'm
uh,
sick of these phony people
yeah,
and all of that. And he would say, you're not quitting. You're
uh,
not a quitter.
yeah,
We are not quitting.
yeah,
Something's going to happen. Things are going to turn around. so, so
Did you
even now I can hear him saying that when I get upset or discouraged or feel like things aren't working out. He will
did
say, I can hear him saying, don't
did
you
you
give up.
say, yeah, did you say he was a minister?
No, no, he
Oh,
wasn't. My
oh,
father was. My father
oh,
was a minister.
oh, okay, sorry.
But
Okay, okay.
Lee was a crane operator actually. He worked in the
Oh,
steel mill for over 37
oh
years.
my goodness.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And he was,
How did you meet him?
oh boy, this is a funny story.
Online? No, just kidding.
We were both living in Detroit at that time,
Yeah.
and I was 30 years old, and I didn't have a car, and so I had to get the bus to work every day. So I had to get two buses, and there's a place where you go where the bus comes to the end of the line, and everybody has to get off, and then you get on the other bus.
Yeah.
So I had got off one bus, and I'm about to get on the other bus, and it was really cold outside. And so the driver was standing outside of the bus talking
Yeah.
to Lee. And
Yeah.
at that time, I didn't know Lee. So
Yeah.
he's talking to Lee and they're just chatting. And I'm standing there thinking, I'm freezing myself to death out here. Why don't they stop talking so we can get on this bus? So I didn't want to be rude and interrupt him.
Yeah.
So I tried to insert myself in the conversation
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I wanted to break it up is what it
Right.
was, but they didn't know
Right.
that.
Shut
And so
up.
I had heard Lee say something about his age.
Yeah.
And since he's much older than me, when he said his age,
Yeah.
I said, wow, you're in your 50s? Wow, I can't believe that. You look
Wow.
so good to be in your
Wow.
50s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that got me into the conversation a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So the bus driver, he was smoking a cigarette or something.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he finished and he got on the bus and I was
Yeah.
so happy. I was like, thank God we can get out
Yeah.
of the cold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got on the bus and I put my purse in the seat next to me so that nobody could sit there. And so Lee stopped and looked at the purse sitting there and he said,
Can I sit here?
is somebody, you saving this seat for somebody? And I said, no, not really, but I don't like to sit next to people. I don't like people sitting next to me on the bus. And so that was so rude when I look at it now. I don't know why he ever married me. But anyway, he ended up saying, he ended up going to another seat.
Yeah.
And then when he went to go get off the bus,
Yeah.
as he's walking past me, he gave me his phone number and asked if I would give him mine.
Wow.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not trying to date anybody. I'm not going to give him my number. And then something said, okay, don't make a scene out of it. You already have been very rude to this wonderful man.
Yeah.
So I gave him my number and that's how we met. And he ended up calling me and we went on a date.
Oh, that's such a great story.
But he was always such a sweet guy.
I can visualize this. You can make a shorts,
Yes, I could, couldn't I? Right?
Yeah, how I met my husband.
Right. Oh, that is hilarious. Ching,
that's awesome.
You truly are a filmmaker.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, let's talk about your workshop. You give workshops. Who are your audiences?
Well, before I tell you that, I want to tell you how the workshop came about.
Yeah,
I'm a part of an organization, a company called You Think Indigo. And it's a very unique name, but they are on Clubhouse. They have clubs and they have rooms and they're in the educational arena, but they decided after meeting me that they wanted to have an entertainment division. So they made me in charge of the entertainment division. And under their club, I'm going to be doing these workshops. So the workshops are going to be once a month, starting in February. And they're for anybody who wants to learn about the industry, from everything from how to get your foot in the door and get that first job, all the way up to how do you get a project made and get the money for it. So everything in between, whether you want to make a documentary or a TV show, a film, whatever it is, we're going to be teaching how to do it. And I'll be connecting you with people who can help you, writers and people that give money and sponsors and all of that, all of those that I can. If your project is ready, I will be connecting you with people that can help you.
So it's not like in a classroom or group of
Right. No,
people
it's going to
that,
be, it's,
yeah.
it's actually going to be on something called Band. And
Oh,
I'm new to this.
oh,
I didn't know about Band. It's BAND, and it's a site, and they have all kinds of things that you can do on there. But one of the things you can do is you can have a private room where you can do workshops. So we're
oh,
going to do it in a private room on Band. And if anybody wants to know more about it, just join the club.
uh,
U, like the letter U,
yeah.
think, THINK, and then Indigo, which is INDIGO. You
Oh,
think
okay.
Indigo.
Is
And
it
that's the
one?
club on Clubhouse.
Is it one word or two word?
All one word.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
just write it
Uh,
all as one word on
I'm just
Clubhouse. I
writing it
think.
down.
I think when you do it that way, yeah, it'll come up
Yeah, right.
on
You
Clubhouse.
think indigo?
Yeah. And
See,
if you join that club, right there you go. Okay.
it's over there. Yeah,
You
yeah,
got it up there, Ju.
yeah,
You got
yeah,
that up there, Ching.
yeah.
So yeah, if you join that club on Clubhouse, then and let them know that you want to know about the workshops, or
No.
you can follow me
Uh-huh.
on Clubhouse.
Yeah,
I'm Dorez, just
yeah,
Dorez, one word, one name on Clubhouse.
yeah,
And you can contact me and I will send you the information when we're ready. We're getting everything all set up right now.
yeah.
And it's going to be $97 per person because it's a very intensive workshop,
Uh-huh.
and you're going to have access to ask me questions,
Uh-huh.
and to I'm going to be giving you assignments to do and things
Uh-huh.
like that.
For how
So
long? For workshop, does it
uh,
have
the
a
workshop
time
the workshop
period?
will probably be about an hour and a half.
Mm,
We're
okay.
we're going to see how it goes
Uh-huh.
after I do the first one, but it's close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we mentioned about Clubhouse, and it's interesting that I've been there almost 2 years and met so many wonderful people, including you. We have Mark, we have Lewis. These are in our audience. These are all Clubhouse friends,
Oh,
and
great.
yeah, and
Hey, everybody
yeah,
from Clubhouse, my
yeah. I
Clubhouse
want to
family.
I want to shout out Don Daroma. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce. And Lewis is here. Kathy Darling is here. Mark Sharkfin Tech is here. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. And
Yes.
now, it's interesting that people around me, my Chinese community, and my family, uh, my music colleagues, they're not on Clubhouse. So tell
Oh.
me a little bit for these people. They don't know about Clubhouse. Can you just summarize what the heck is Clubhouse? Why are we
Mhm.
in the Clubhouse so often?
It's an audio app, and a lot of people when it first came out, I wasn't able to get on because I didn't have an iPhone, and at that time they didn't have it set up for Android. So finally, they got it set up for Android, and I signed up after this lady. I had a friend that just kept telling me about it. She was like, "You need to do this. You need to get on Clubhouse." And so I finally did get on it, and boy, that was the best decision I ever made. And the reason I like it, the reason I think people need to be on it, is because you're getting to hear people's voices, which tells me a lot about a person when I hear them talk. So I like the fact that we can hear each other speak, even though we can't see each other, but we can see each other's picture, whatever picture you have. And I always say, have a
Profile
nice,
picture.
clear, good picture of yourself on
Yeah.
Clubhouse. I don't like to even do business with people that don't have their face on there. I don't want to see some animal
Tree.
picture,
Some people
right?
put a
Or a tree
tree and
or
a
a dog.
dog, a
I want to see
cat.
you, and I like it because of that. But I also like it because every now and then I run across somebody who actually I get to meet them in person. They're either passing through LA, or they might live in LA, or they might decide I'm going to move to LA. Whatever the reason, I get to to do that. And I wanted to thank the people that are sending me their condolences about Lee. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It means so much to me. But yeah, that's why I like to be on Clubhouse. And I think if you are serious about making connections, you really need to be on Clubhouse in order to do that. And a side benefit of that is that you will grow your following on Instagram if you
Hmm.
connect your Instagram in your
Yeah.
profile.
Yes,
You will really
exactly.
build your following very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I think 2 years ago, my Instagram, I don't even know, very limited. I don't do it a lot because I do Facebook quite a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
I'm on
once,
Facebook too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I saw you. Once I started do Clubhouse, and it links to Twitter and links to Instagram. So my Instagram is growing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
growing.
definitely helps. And then it also helps when you're on Clubhouse to not just stay in the audience all the time. I think
Yeah,
some people are a little nervous about talking, so
right.
they just sit in the audience whenever they're in these rooms or in these clubs. But you have really got to bring attention to yourself when you're on Clubhouse. Even if you don't do anything but come up to the stage, raise your hand, come up to the stage and ask a question.
Yeah,
It makes people notice you,
yeah.
and then it makes people go to your profile. And always have your profile filled out completely. Don't have one line on there. uh, at least have five or six, and
Yeah,
then the first three
yeah,
lines
yeah.
should be what's the most important thing you want people to know about you.
Right, right.
Don't have some generic stuff up there, and all this stuff about you're a mother or father to
Yeah,
five kids or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
We can look further down and find out all of that.
Right.
In those first three lines, I want to know whether you're a filmmaker. I want to know what you do, who you are, and who you're looking to collaborate with or looking to work with.
Exactly,
Then you can put all
exactly.
that other stuff in there about your astrological sign and what
Yeah.
kind of what your favorite foods are and how many pets you have. We can find out all about that later on down, further
Coffee or
down.
tea. And also, it's important to link to Instagram and Twitter because people can verify you, right? Because
Yes,
when
yes.
someone don't have link, I'm not sure I want to do business with them because I get a lot of people say hello, hi,
Oh, yeah.
in
Oh,
a
God.
back channel. I was like, why do I have to say hello to you? You tell me hello. I met you in this room in this topic, and I'm interested
Right.
in this and that, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't
that
hello.
that hello is not going to get my attention at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
I delete you and block you when you when you write me talking about hello, because I
Yeah.
don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that.
Yeah.
So
No.
always say, you can find to say hello,
Yeah.
but always, as Ching said,
Yeah.
follow up by saying, I saw you in a room,
Yeah.
or I love the comment you made in such and
Yeah.
such a room,
Yeah.
and or I learned a lot from
Yeah.
from what you said.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
that lets me know that you're a real person and that your interest in me is
Uh-huh.
on a business level,
Yeah.
because I'm not interested in a relationship. So
Right. Right.
so
Right.
don't write me with that.
Oh, I know. So, yeah, we're almost in the end our conversation, and I have a question for you. Who would you pick to play you in a feature film?
Oh my goodness. Well, it depends. Since I'm an old lady now, that it would have to
Ah!
be like five or six people. We'd
Ah!
have to have somebody to play me when I was younger,
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah,
on through, right?
yeah,
But to play me in my prime, which
yeah,
was in my 30s and
yeah,
40s or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Oh gosh, I think it's let me see. I'm trying to think of her name. Well, Viola Davis could play me now,
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah, yeah,
I am now, probably.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
could probably age her and make her a little bit older
yeah.
looking, and she could play me older.
No,
But yeah, I think
you look
Viola
very
Davis
young.
has the
Yeah,
personality.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You look very young. Uh,
Oh,
I
thank
could
you, Ching.
I could easily guess like you're like 59 and
Uh, oh, I wish. I
60,
wish.
61.
From your lips to God's ears. I'm in my 70s.
Really? Oh my God. Oh my
Yep,
God.
I've been around a long time,
Yeah,
guys. So
yeah.
learn from me.
Yeah,
Learn,
yeah.
get all this wisdom
Yeah.
while you can, and don't make the mistakes I made.
And you are pretty what do you call techie, and a lot of people like reach 70 or after 70, they don't do Facebook, they don't do, of course, it's,
Yep.
Clubhouse, they don't do Instagram, they don't do any of the social media. So
I have a lot of
where is it?
friends, who
Yeah,
don't do any social media. It's hard for
yeah,
me to keep up with them.
yeah, yeah.
I had one friend for the longest time. We used to write each other snail mail letters.
Hmm.
And people would say, "You're writing a letter?
Yeah,
Like you got to put a stamp on it and take
yeah,
it to the
yeah,
post office?"
yeah, yeah,
The younger generation, they don't even know what that is. They're like snail mail. Never
yeah,
heard of it.
yeah. but
But
but you know but
I used to
but
love getting letters.
yeah, but snail mail, these days we don't get enough snail mail. So like
Right.
Christmas
You don't
time,
get letters, and
yeah,
cards and stuff. For a while, people were still sending me cards, and then they
yeah,
stopped doing that. But I will
yeah,
say this about technology for the younger people.
yeah.
It's so, I mean, for the younger and older. I'm going to give you two
Wait,
things.
see,
Younger people, you need,
see,
okay. Oh,
see
he
the
said she
comment.
looks 55. Oh, Vaughn, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much. You can
Mom.
get a deal with me anytime. You contact me. But yeah, I would advise you to never stop learning
Mhm.
technology. Stay
Yeah.
up to date with everything new that's coming out. I know they've got chat
Mhm.
GPT or whatever it is, and then there's
Oh,
AI, and there's
oh
all
yeah,
this, what is it, the webiverse, whatever it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
All these things, keep up with them, learn.
yeah,
And for those of you who are older or younger but have older like relatives or
yeah,
family members or friends or whatever,
yeah.
teach them,
Uh-huh.
help them learn
Yeah.
how to do these things, because my
Right.
daughter really has helped me tremendously.
Wow.
And that's the only reason I think that I am as knowledgeable as I am about, dealing with tech, because she didn't like lose patience or say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't have time to be showing you how to do this or do that."
Mm,
She's
mm,
always there for me, and
mm,
any questions I have,
mm.
she'll find the answers. So I thank God for her.
You're lucky. You're lucky. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
it's a
son, I have
blessing.
a son and who is so much better than I am. I think I am pretty good, I can make a film and edit the whole thing by myself. But
Oh,
he's
that's
like,
great.
yeah, he's very techy and he can just maneuver around the computer so quickly and
Oh,
have
yeah.
answers to many of my, problems. So
Right.
yeah, we're actually
Are we out of time?
and yeah,
Mhm.
today, uh, I have to go to Apple Store tonight, and my iPhone 14 just died 2 hours ago.
Oh, you told me that, but I
Yeah,
thought you were just meant that it needed to be charged, but it's
no,
actually dead.
yeah, it's dead. It's like I
Oh,
was
no.
teaching today, and I filmed my student. I have a wonderful student who's 91 years old.
Wow.
91. Yeah,
91.
yeah.
Oh, that's my role model.
She play she plays the violin still. You know.
What?
She sits
Oh,
on a
my goodness.
wheelchair. She couldn't hear very well. She couldn't see very well. These days,
Hmm.
I just go see her once a week, and we just play like the tunes she knows.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful.
So I filmed her, and if you go to my Instagram, actually, you'll see a little bit of her playing, and
Oh, I'm going to do that.
she always get so much viewers. Say
Yes.
my post, right, get 300 view. Her post get uh about her, she play the music, gets like 1500 easily.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
She's an example of that you're never too old to keep
yeah,
learning and keep doing, stay active.
yeah. So I filmed her a little bit when she played the is it Schubert, the
Hmm.
bum ba-dum ba-dum
Oh,
ba-dum
yes, yes,
ba-dum
Schubert.
ba-dum
Uh-huh.
ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. And then I filmed her, and then I put the phone down right on the side, and then when the lesson was over and I picked the phone just died. Like no
Right
matter
then,
what,
huh?
yeah, no matter what I do, it doesn't work. But anyway, yeah,
Oh,
I'm going to go to Apple Store tonight, and they're open.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
get a new
So
phone.
before we end, we're gonna do this like club. Oh, I'm gonna advertise a little bit. Please watch my film, My Young Gun Diary. It's on Tubi TV. A lot of people know, okay, already. And what else? And I do this show every actually Wednesday and occasionally Sunday, like today, when people cannot do on Wednesday. So check on me on Wednesdays, and thank you so much for our audience. And Lewis and Mark comes very often, and Vaughn comes also very often. Yeah, thank you guys for supporting. And now, what else? We always advertise ourselves, right? And we want people to know your workshop, and we also want to know your ebook, Doris, right? You have an ebook. You have
Yes, yes,
three.
I have
Three.
3 ebooks. So go
Yeah.
to my
Yeah.
site. I see that Ching put it there,
Yeah.
scrolling across the screen there. If you go to that site, you can click on shop and you'll see my books. And the workshops will start in February. I'm not sure when they are going to start, but it'll be on a Saturday,
Hmm.
most likely. And so that might be a convenient time for everybody. And
Hmm.
you can DM me on Instagram. My name on Instagram is MS Dorez, Ms. Dorez. And you can, it's my link to my Instagram is in my Clubhouse profile.
Yeah,
So you
right
can
here.
find me there.
Right here. Look. Doris.
Yes,
Instagram.
there we
Yeah.
go.
Just scrolling.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ching.
Yeah. You're
And I
welcome.
saw Ching's movie. For those of you who haven't seen it, you better watch it. It's a good movie.
Thank you.
Riveting, riveting to watch this story of this man who ran
Oh,
for office.
thank you so much. Thank you. So, like, let's do a last word. What? How would you encourage people want to be in the entertainment business? What would you say to them?
I would say, first thing is learn your craft, figure out what you want to do, get the training you need, and then jump on out there and make your dream happen. And don't be afraid to spend money to get your dream. If you need some information and it's going to cost you a little something, save up if you have to, or sell something if you have to, and get the information you need because it's out there for
Mhm.
you. There's no reason now with all this, technology to not pursue your dream. And I would say do it as soon as you can. And even if you're older, it's not too late. There's still some job that you can do. Give me a call and we'll talk about it and I'll help you.
Yes, yes. Check Doris's website. And my last word is I often say that do that one thing. One thing leads to another thing.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
So
That's a
thank you
great
so
tip.
much, Doris, to be with me and to be with our audience. And yeah, I will see you or hear you very, very soon. Yeah,
Yes,
on
and thank
Clubhouse.
you for having me. I'm honored to be here. And thanks
Yeah,
to the audience.
yeah. Okay, we're gonna
Okay.
end this broadcast and have a nice week tomorrow and the next week. And actually, week starts today. So have a
Yes.
great week. Yeah. Okay.
Take care,
Bye now.
everyone. Bye bye
Thank
now.
you. Thank you.